Assalamu alaikum. Today we are going to discuss about the structure of sclera. But before going into the detail, let's have a quick review of the basic structure of the eyeball. As we have discussed in the previous lecture that eyeball has three main coats. The outer one is fibrous coat, the inner one is vascular pigmented coat or the uveal tract, and more inner there is the light sensitive part of the eyeball which is known as retina. The outer fibrous coat, as we have discussed in the previous lecture, has two parts. The posterior 5/6 part is opaque and this is known as sclera, and the anterior 1/6 part is transparent and this is known as cornea. Actually, in this video we are going to discuss about the structure of sclera. So first of all, let me tell you where exactly sclera is present. This layer from here all the way up to here, this layer is known as sclera and it forms the posterior 5/6 of the fibrous part of the fibrous coat of the eyeball. When we move anteriorly, this sclera is continuous with the cornea at this point. This point is known as corneoscleral junction. Since this is the junction between the transparent cornea and the opaque sclera, so this junction is known as corneoscleral junction or limbus. We give it another name, limbus, or the corneoscleral junction. When we move posteriorly, at this point this sclera is pierced by the optic nerve. This sclera is pierced by the optic nerve. The area of the sclera, the point where the sclera is pierced by the optic nerve, it has small perforations. It has small perforations at this point through which fibers of the optic nerve pass backward and medially. These perforated area is the weakest point of the sclera and this is known as lamina cribrosa. Lamina cribrosa. So now we know the extent of the sclera, that when we move anteriorly it is continuous with the cornea at the corneoscleral junction, and when we move posteriorly it is pierced by the optic nerve at the point where it has small perforations. This point is known as lamina cribrosa and this is the weakest point of the sclera. Sclera is white in color. Sclera is white in color and it is opaque and it has a total thickness of 0.5 millimeter. This layer has a thickness of 0.5 millimeter. Another important feature of sclera is that it provides attachment to the extraocular muscle. For example, there is the superior rectus and it is the inferior rectus. All the extraocular muscles are attached with the sclera. So the important feature is that it provides attachment to the extraocular muscles. When examined under light microscope, sclera is seen to compose of three layers: sclera proper, episclera, and the suprachoroidal lamina or lamina fusca. So now we will discuss in detail about these three layers. So we start our discussion with the sclera proper. This layer is the sclera proper. This layer is the sclera proper. This sclera proper is composed of type 1 collagen fibrils which are irregularly arranged, and in between the collagen fibrils few fibroblasts are present. Now the question arises is why sclera is opaque and why cornea is transparent. The reason is that the collagen fibrils in the cornea are regularly arranged, and due to the regular arrangement of the collagen fibrils in the cornea, light passes through the cornea and it becomes transparent. In contrast, the collagen fibrils which are present in this layer, sclera proper, they are irregularly arranged, so light cannot pass through them. That is why sclera is opaque and cornea is transparent. So this middle layer is the sclera proper, which is composed of type 1 collagen fibrils and few fibroblasts. Then what is this layer? This is choroid and this is retina. This is retina, this is choroid, and this is sclera. In between the choroid and the sclera there is this black one. there is a layer of loose connective tissue. This layer of loose connective tissue is known as suprachoroidal lamina or lamina fusca. Since this layer of loose connective tissue is present outside the choroid, that is why it is known as suprachoroidal lamina or lamina fusca. This layer is composed of collagen fibers, elastic fibers. Since this is connective tissue, so mainly things which are present in the connective tissue, they will also be present in this suprachoroidal lamina. What are those? Collagen fibers, elastic fibers, fibroblasts, macrophages, melanocytes. All these fibers and cells, they will be present in this layer of loose connective tissue. What this layer of loose connective tissue is doing? This layer basically is connecting the sclera proper with the choroid. This is choroid and this is sclera proper. So this suprachoroidal lamina is connecting the sclera proper with the choroid. Since this is a layer of loose connective tissue, so we can say that choroid is loosely connected with the sclera proper. Then outside this is the facial sheath. This is the facial sheath. This facial sheath has given another name, Tennant's capsule. Tennant's capsule. Between the Tennant's capsule and the sclera proper, another layer of loose connective tissue is present. This layer is known as episclera. This layer is known as episclera. This episclera basically connects the sclera proper with the facial sheath of the eyeball. This sclera proper is connected to the facial sheath of the eyeball with the help of this episclera. So to conclude, sclera has three layers. The middle layer is known as sclera proper. See this one, this layer. This is known as sclera proper, and it is composed of type 1 collagen fibrils. But the important thing which is important to know is that the collagen fibrils which are present in this layer, they are irregularly arranged, and due to this irregular arrangement, light cannot pass through sclera. That is why it is opaque, and it is made up of dense fibrous tissue, and this is white in color. Now between the choroid and the sclera proper, there is a loose layer of connective tissue, and this loose layer of connective tissue is known as suprachoroidal lamina or lamina fusca. Since this is connective tissue, so elastic fibers, collagen fibers, macrophages, melanocytes and fibroblasts, they all will be present in this layer of connective tissue. This layer connects the sclera proper with the choroid. Since this is loose, so we can say that choroid is loosely attached with the sclera proper. Then this is the outside the sclera, this is the facial sheath of the eyeball in which the eye rotates. This facial sheath has given another name, Tennant's capsule. Between the sclera proper and the Tennant's capsule, another layer of loose connective tissue is present. This layer of loose connective tissue is known as episclera, and it connects the sclera proper with the Tennant's capsule. So sclera is a tough protective sheath which protects the eyeball and maintains its shape. Another important feature we have already discussed, that it provides attachment to the extraocular muscles. Now we will discuss about the structures which either pierce or are attached with the sclera. What are the structures which pierce the sclera or they are attached with the sclera? The first structure you already know, extraocular muscles. Sclera provides attachment to the extraocular muscles. So first thing which are attached with the sclera is the extraocular muscle. But you can see here that extraocular muscles are attached to the anterior part of the sclera. This is the posterior part and this is the anterior part. Extraocular muscles are attached with the anterior part of the sclera. Now we will discuss about the structures which pierce the sclera. There are few arteries which pierce the sclera. For example, here is our short ciliary artery. This short ciliary artery, it pierces the sclera and it runs in the suprachoroidal lamina or lamina fusca, as you can see here. This is the short ciliary artery. And then there are long ciliary arteries as well. So this is the long ciliary artery. It passes this sclera. This is the sclera proper. Short ciliary arteries and long ciliary arteries, they pierce the sclera and they run anteriorly in the suprachoroidal lamina. They run anteriorly in the suprachoroidal lamina. Then there are few nerves which have the same name as those of the arteries: short ciliary nerves and long ciliary nerves. For example, this is the short ciliary nerve. It will pass the sclera. Here it passes the sclera and then runs anteriorly in the suprachoroidal lamina. Suprachoroidal lamina. Then there are long ciliary nerves. Long ciliary nerves also pass the sclera and they also run anteriorly in the suprachoroidal lamina. Suprachoroidal lamina. Then there are veins which drain the venous blood from the eyeball. These are varicose vein, vena varticosa or varicose vein. Varicose vein, they also pierce the sclera. Vena varticosa or varicose veins, they also pierce the sclera. Then at this place, this point, I told you that this point is the lamina cribrosa. This is the weakest point of the sclera. At this point it is pierced by the first structure is optic nerve, then central retinal artery. Central retinal artery pierces the sclera at the lamina cribrosa. Then central retinal vein, it also pierces the sclera at the lamina cribrosa. So what are the structures which either pass or are attached with the sclera? First of all, extraocular muscles are attached with the sclera. Then at the lamina cribrosa, it is pierced by the optic nerve, central retinal artery and central retinal vein. Then short ciliary arteries and long ciliary arteries, they pierce the sclera from the back and they run anteriorly between the choroid and the sclera proper in the suprachoroidal lamina. Then there are long and short ciliary nerves which pierce the sclera and run between the choroid and the sclera in the suprachoroidal lamina. Then there are few veins which are known as vena varticosa or varicose veins. They also pierce the sclera and they are draining the venous blood from the eyeball. So this was all about the structure of the sclera. In the next video we will discuss about the structure of the transparent part of the fibrous coat cornea.